What incarnation was that? Literally. I have to remember, like, I'm not looking at you guys here, I'm looking at you guys here. So I'm looking at you now. What was that? Genuinely, what was that? I need answers. We won, but that was genuinely one of our worst performances of the season. It's like, when's the last time we did the double over Man United? And we finally won at Old Trafford. But I'm like, it's my dream to beat these guys. My dream. That was my cup final. And I feel dirty. I feel filthy. I feel like, not that we didn't deserve it because they also were shit, but are y'all on the beach? Are you all on the beach? Genuinely. No duels contested, no chances created, passes all loose and shitty. What is that? Shout out to William Saliba. Genuinely, probably the only candidate for man of the match, maybe even Gabrielle, but it was to me, obviously, Willow. So it's the only player that you can vote for. But what was that? I don't even get to celebrate the way I wanted to. Whatever. I'll take the 3 points. If you guys are on the watch along, Saka got the ball randomly. Like one of the United players just passed it straight to him. He started dribbling. He was dribbling like he had cement in his fucking shoes. Dallo caught up to him. Then he just passed it inside to Partey, but it was like the most like shitty pass I've ever seen. And I fucking lost it. I was like, what am I watching? What am I watching? I mean, listen, a win is a win. And like, I'm gonna treat it as such. Like we won and we did our job and it'll go to the final day. But what was that? What the fuck was that? A stinker. So we're gonna get into it. Make sure you guys smash the likes. And for all of you guys that are like, at 3 points, move on. No, not all 3 points are the same. Like I said this when we beat Leeds 2 seasons ago and we generally got peppered and could have lost the game. If every time we win a game, we're not allowed to speak about it in any sort of like reality, then there's no point in us having podcasts or anything like that because Arsenal win a lot and the differences between our wins, there's sometimes differences between our wins. So yeah, we're going to talk about this stinker. We're not just going to move on. Like I think everybody's happy about the win, right? Because we won, blah blah blah, we deserve to win, whatever. But like, no, not sure. We're gonna chat. Like, come on. Because it doesn't mean that I think the team is crap or blah blah blah. But genuinely, we were not good today, and I think it's okay to say that. um, Nuances of Fate says Partey was awful. Chosen One says Saka wasn't added on the attack, but he was great defensively. He was basically doing a fullback shift. Errol says Jess Ben White was terrible today. I feel he was at the beach, truly rubbish. This says now that we have 3 points in the bag, we can complain. Exactly. Like I'm definitely 100% going to talk about it. I don't feel like it's not that bad to say. Like we're at the point now where we can play awful and still win. And the majority of the reason for that is because we have an excellent defense. Primarily those center backs. They made it so that we only needed 1 goal and we had 1 really good chance and we scored. And so this is going to happen. We're going to play poorly at times. I just feel like that it's the timing in which this bad performance came in. It was like, we were discussing on the watch along whether we thought it was the pressure was getting to them or they were on the beach. I said I thought we were on the beach. Some people said it was the pressure. When it's the pressure, I feel like we see performances like we did against Bayern. That's pressure where we're so stiff that we can't play our game and we're genuinely like all in here because we're thinking too much. Today we weren't thinking at all. We weren't thinking at all. Like there was no thoughts. It was just tomfoolery. Oh my God, the rain is awful. So yeah, like it really wasn't good. But I genuinely do think that, maybe I'm projecting, but we're trying to there's hail. There was hail. Maybe it's like a little bit of like I'm projecting, and maybe it's because of like, we had spoken about this prior to the game, that I did think that a lot of the fans had already thrown in the towel, and they were making that known yesterday after Man City won 4-0 against Fulham, that it was this game and we were crap, and we bottled it, and it was this game, it was that game, it was blah blah blah. Oh my God, the Kai Havertz experiment, playing Declan at the 6, not playing Partey, not that, all this stuff. And I feel like maybe that got to them more than anything, not necessarily just like the social media stuff, but like watching City win the way that they did and realizing that no matter how good we're playing, they're also playing really well, and they're in finish off the season mode. And no matter what we do, as long as they do what they always do, they're going to win. And I feel like it was more that than anything, if I'm honest, you guys. I just genuinely didn't feel like there was belief in that group, besides like Saliba and Gabrielle. Like they were like, "Oh, I want my clean sheet. I'm leaving here with something." And they 100% left with something, So you guys can let me know in the chat what you guys think about it. If you guys think it was or they were on the beach, but it felt like they were on the beach. Now, what I'll say about Saka and Ben is that, one, I don't think Saka was 100%. I know people are going to be like, it's just an excuse, but I don't think he was 100%. And I also don't think Ben was 100%. Ben and Saka, idealistically, next season should not start the season. The reason why I say that is because Saka is going to be playing in the Euros. He's going to be playing in the Euros. Southgate is going to use him like a bar of soap. So the way he's looking now and the way he'll probably be after the Euros, I do think it would be in our best interest to have a winger that we feel confident to step in for him at the beginning of next season, because Martinelli is going to go to Copa America, but he's not going to play. Unless something catastrophic happens, he's not going to play. He'll probably be ready to go at the beginning of next season, right? And so there needs to be somebody that can step in for Saka at the beginning of the season, next season. And also Ben, he needs surgery. Like I don't know if you guys have read up on it, but when Ben signed his new contract, they were talking about how he's been playing with something that needs surgery. And I really do feel like Ben needs a break so that he can get the surgery. And that's where Timber comes in. Timber will be ready to start next season because he won't be playing in the Euros, right? And so I'm just thinking like next season vibes in terms of our right-hand side has played loads of minutes. Odegaard won't be playing in the Euros because Norway is shit, right? They're not in it. So he'll probably be fine. But Saka and Ben, I was looking at them and I was like, they're cooked. They're cooked. They need a break, So yeah, just thinking about that next season is like, yeah, definitely Timber moving over to the right-hand side, covering that side for Ben at the beginning of next season, buying a winger that will force Mikel to put Saka on the bench, at the beginning of next season. And when we fully get going, then they'll be ready to go. So yeah, Omar says, next week, let's see Timber at right back and let Blanco get his deserved rest. Ben looked like he was on E. That tank was on E. Like, I'm glad Rashford wasn't there because, first of all, Ben gets cooked by Rashford every single time. It's football heritage. No matter what kind of form Rashford is in, he is cooking Ben White, and Ben White is getting an early yellow card. But you could just see there was one like recovery run. They showed a close up of his face. He was like grimacing trying to get back. And so, yeah, I just feel like we're heading to the end of the season. It's pretty much over now. Ben needs that surgery. Saka is going to need rest after the Euros. So yeah, like that's just all I was really thinking. So yeah. Nuances of Fate says Saka has needed a break since the start of the season. Yeah, I think a lot of people have felt that way. I think Saka has played almost this entire season with something or carrying a little here and there, So he hasn't, like, it's weird because he's had a good season numbers wise, but I do feel like some of his performances have been under the level. Some have been really good. So he's not going to get a rest. So for the Euros, unless Southgate does something, I really don't give a fuck. Play Foden and play Cole Palmer. I'm not English, so I don't care, but I'd still feel like he's going to play in the Euros, so he's not going to get that rest. Sip says Old Trafford voodoo. We always have weird performances when breaking a curse. Fair enough. Kevin says, I'm happy with the win, Jess, but I'm very unimpressed with the performance. And yes, Saka and White, they didn't look 100% fit to me. And to me, there's like a difference between, like, you guys know, if I think Saka didn't play well, I'll just say I don't think he played well. But, when I was like really watching him, I'm like, no, he didn't look. And Arteta did say that fitness wise, Saka was kind of like on the line. But going into next season, there has to be another winger that we feel confident enough in and is at the level of Saka and Martinelli so that they can start over them, or in place of them. Trossard has done a really good job, but Trossard has his limitations, in terms of being able to play on the touchline, and our wingers mostly play on the touchline. So, it's and I don't know if Jesus is going to be enough. He could be an option there, but is he really the guy you want going into next season? I feel like if he were the one winger that we had besides Saka and Martinelli, Arteta would play Saka still over Jesus, Um, so I don't know. It's just something I'm thinking about for next season, but they didn't look fit. Social Join says Ben White getting surgery, so he won't start for months. Exactly. And that should be fine because we have Timber, but then also you look at the other side, and that's where the left back comes in. That's where you need to bring in Hato or whatever, so that we have enough cover on that left hand side. Because genuinely, and I know a lot of you guys probably feel this way as well, I think Zinchenko's gone. So Zinchenko leaving means you only have Tomiyasu. And as much as I love Tommy, I feel like he's really limited. I feel like he's really limited. I feel like he's really good for certain game states, but there's just times where you just need a little bit more finesse, and he doesn't have it. And that's not to shade him or anything like that. He's very versatile, and he can do a really good job defensively. But, you have Tommy, you have Kiwior, neither one of them, I think, really spark joy the way that you would want a left back to that's going to start almost every single game. So, yeah, that's where the left back comes in for sure. Tawana says, Martinelli is done out here. We need to forget about getting anything out of him next game. See, here's where I will push back as somebody that I do think that Martinelli has gotten away with murder this season. This season it's been all the system and Kai and not having Xhaka and not his fault and injuries, but Martinelli just fundamentally has not been good this season. And even when the circumstances have been better, the environment has been better, meaning no Kai. Because remember, Kai hasn't really been playing left center mid in the second half of the season. His performances have not improved at all. They have stayed at a very poor level. And so, yeah, he's really struggling. I think getting away with Brazil might be good for him. Maybe he'll get some minutes, just get a breather away from Arsenal and then come back fresh. But there's a deeper conversation to be had about Martinelli and why his season has not went well. I don't think it's just injuries. He hasn't been injured for a while. I don't think it's just a system. For him to be this poor, I think we have to have a conversation about how limited Martinelli is, and is he flexible enough for us to be able to change the pieces around him and him still be able to function. If he can only function, and when I'm talking about functional, I mean be even average in a game. The circumstances have to be where we can only play a certain way. I don't think he's going to make it because Arteta's system constantly changes around you. Like every single player plays multiple positions within a game, and the pieces aren't always going to be the same. The Kai Havertz midfield experiment, I don't think is over. I feel like he'll get some of the players that he wants and we'll see it again. And so if it's the case that unless he has Xhaka and Zinchenko behind him, he can't, and Jesus to the right of him, he can't function, then there's a deeper conversation about whether or not Martinelli is flexible enough to play for Mikel, and that's the conversation that I feel like people don't want to have. Lenicia says it was just nerves. Fair enough. Nuances said we take the win and never speak of this game. Ciao. After this, I will not speak about it again. Ricky says Martinelli annoyed me. Why was he trying to hold up the ball? That's not his game. He had 3 chances to break towards goal and tried to hold it up and lost the ball all 3 times. I think he's really low on confidence as well. He's a very instinctual player, Martinelli. So if he's not running on instinct and he's thinking too much, he makes the wrong decision almost every single time. And so again, like there's just a deeper conversation to be had about him. Like, we have these conversations about, people are willing to dig deep on Rice and whether or not he's a good enough progressive passer. People are willing to dig deep on Odegaard and is he good enough? Is he Kevin De Bruyne enough? Does he have enough to his game? But when it comes to Martinelli, it's like he's perfect. Let's not talk. And it's like, but he's not. He's not. He's nowhere near it. Like Martinelli is really to me like in the front line a conversation that needs to be had. Because I still feel like I've always felt like we could upgrade in that position where I feel like it'd be really difficult to upgrade on Saka. I feel like it'd be really difficult to upgrade on Odegaard, you know? So just conversation. That being said, a fresh season, a new left center mid, and a left back, and a more calm and like a more an environment that's more consistent throughout the season could probably help Martinelli. So I would like to see that. Like I'm not fully writing him off, but if I went into next season and I had to think like what's more important, bringing in somebody that's more left-sided that can play on the right or somebody that's more primarily right-sided, I would pick left-sided that could also play on the right because I just feel like we need something else in that left wing position. So yeah, Tawana says Martinelli needs a good 1v1 coach to better him. He needs a mentor. Do you think that Arteta is known for being able to get the most out of a winger? He was, credited not just from Arsenal fans. This is from the horse's mouth. Sane and Raheem Sterling and Manchester City fans have said that the uptick in performances from those two players at City was due to Mikel. Saka's gotten better under Mikel. Do we really believe that Mikel has not tried to work with Martinelli and get his game to the best? Like it could be. Does he really need another coach? Or has Arteta coached him up, but he can't modify his game? But Martinelli is not the full conversation here, though. I feel like it's because he's the last thing that we saw. Martinelli didn't come in until way later in the game. We were already shit before he got on. Like, we were already crap before he came on. So I feel like it's not just a Martinelli thing. He's the last thing we saw. But I mean, I saw bad moments from Trossard. There was a moment where he tried to walk it in. Trossard is not afraid of a shot. There was a good chance for 2-0, and instead of shooting, he tries to pull it back and like we're trying to walk it into the goal. What's wrong? His finish though was really, really good. Shout out Casemiro for being the bozo bonehead that you are and not holding the line and he basically gave us that goal because I don't think we score unless he holds Kai Havertz on side. Kai makes a good run. Ben White, chips the ball into Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz finds Trossard, a good movement for Trossard. Boom, 1-0, and that's all we needed. So, yeah, like also Kai Havertz and Trossard works. As much as people don't think it works, it does. It's worked since preseason, but we broke it apart in the sake of trying to get Martinelli involved. Partnerships matter. Kai and Trossard works. Jesus and Martinelli works. And so we have to figure out a way, like if Kai Havertz is going to be the center forward, Martinelli is not going to have somebody that's able to go out wide and allow him to come more central. So again, like changes are probably going to need to be made in the summer for us to be able to maximize that left-hand spot. But I do think Trossard and Kai Havertz have a good connection. The problem is that we don't have any pace because they're all slow, so there's definitely that. Let's see. Tawana says, do you think we sell Martinelli this summer? No, in the summer, absolutely not. There's, first of all, like this thing about, I'm not saying you're trying to do it, but I do think that there's like anybody that we feel uncertain about at this moment needs to be sold. I am so sorry, but when Reece Nelson and Nketiah and these guys are here, I do think we need to be a little bit like, okay, do we need to get rid of Martinelli? No, because we know if Martinelli has a different environment around him and maybe a more settled left-hand side, we could get more of the Martinelli that we had last season that is still one of the top left wingers in the league. So I'm not saying that Martinelli is finished or anything like that. I'm not saying that we need to sell him. I think we have so many other players that we need to look at before you even get to Martinelli. But again, is Martinelli in my unsellable for the time? No. there's about 5 players in that list for me personally. So I don't think it's this summer. And this summer, we need to build the team more, the squad up. I think Zinchenko is probably on the bubble. Jesus, if a good bid comes in, is on the bubble. But Martinelli shouldn't even be in the conversation because, like, genuinely, I just feel like if he just washes the season away, gets a fresh start next season, even if he's not an all the time starter, he still has a lot to give this team you know? Um, so yeah, Alvin says Trossard needs to develop assisting to his game. You know what? You say this, Alvin, but Trossard's season last season was actually the flip, the opposite side of this season. Last season, he had like 1 goal and 10 assists. This season, he has like 10 goals and 1 assist. So if he could put all that together, then he would be, it would be a lot better. But he does. Trossard has it. I just I just feel like he's just more scoring goals this time around. And our left-hand side, as Tuchel, very much so clocked, is the finishing side of our team. The the left-hand side is the finishing side. So, everything is created on the right and is finished on the left. That needs to change next season. It's just too easy to clock. But I do think that makes it so that Trossard is probably the person coming in and finishing the chances, and Saka and Odegaard are the ones that are creating those chances for him. Dale says Arsenal need to solve the left side. That's the best chance to improve this team. Tawana says we should keep him. He just needs to step up. Left centerman is a priority ASAP. There's no reason to even think about selling Martinelli. Omar says, gotta make this wish list. Who's going to leave in the summer? You have plenty of time to talk about that, my friend. Aman says, no way we should sell. Tonali says, was it me? Martinelli was not added again today. Honestly, there's 400 of you guys in here, by the way. Make sure you guys are smashing the likes. But the whole Martinelli thing is when people were like, I think he should come in, I pushed back on it during the watch along. I was like, I just don't feel like he's in good form. So it's not like Martinelli of last season coming in, it's Martinelli of this season. And if we're being honest, he's been very poor. He really has been. So yeah. Tawana says Trossard is pivotal in GA. I don't like Trossard. He's not somebody I would think about selling. Martinelli is not somebody that I think about selling. Jesus is somebody that I would consider just because the wages that he's on, and I don't know if he can be a right winger for Arsenal. I still feel like because he came to Arsenal thinking he was going to change the narrative around him being a number 9, and in one season he's been replaced by Kai Havertz. I don't know if he's mentally going to be able to be a right winger for us. And I don't know if he's going to want to. That's if you think about it from like a pride perspective. I'm 27 years old. I left the best team in the world to come to Arsenal and change my story. And I've only cemented it further and been replaced by somebody who isn't even a real striker either. Right? And so I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. And the wages he's on is a starting player wages. If you give that to someone else, somebody that can really take us to the next level, I feel like having Martinelli and Trossard is enough, for backup. And then you bring in somebody else that becomes a starter or another rotational option and you move them on. I think Jesus is the one I'm looking at that's more like, Martinelli is too young to sell, I feel. And he has too much upside to him. Trossard is actually giving us goals and assists. What's Jesus really doing for us besides jinky? That's not it. That's not enough. Oh, Breezy says Trossard is confusing. I feel like when he starts, he doesn't usually play well, but he always scores. Still like him. Listen, I think Trossard, if he played more central, I think his performances for us are always better when he actually starts at the false 9. His overall performances are better at false 9, but no matter where he is on the pitch, he gives us GA. And so, like, I just think Trossard is just not somebody that you can even consider moving on because we don't have enough good goal scorers in the team. Odegaard is a facilitator. Saka is a facilitator. Like at their core, they're facilitators. Havertz is a facilitator, but in his core, we have forced them to add goals to their game. But we need some natural finishers in this team, and that's why Martinelli, his form is so devastating because he's probably our only natural finisher besides Trossard. But they can only, like the way that Arteta plays, they can only play for one another. So yeah. Tawana says, sell Eddie Nelson, Sai, ESR, Zinchenko. Omar says we got to have an awkward Zinni and Jesus talk. I don't even think it needs to be as awkward. I just feel like they can be moved on. Is it awkward to say that? I don't feel like it's awkward. It's we move beyond them so quickly, and I hate the feeling because I really like the two of them, but it's not awkward to me. If a good bid comes in, sell. Like, you know, Junior says Arsenal need Trossard and Martinelli in the squad because this way we have two different players for game construction. I agree with that. I think you're 100% right. Diehard Gunner says Jesus was actually really good again, but the agenda. Um, I don't know. I know you're saying it's but the agenda, but I think your agenda and it should be no. I don't think was he good? No, I don't know. Unknown C says off topic, like how you got the chats matching the away kit colors. Off topic, like how, oh yeah, thank you. Sometimes I like to be a little creative. Jagoon says, I'm hearing man say we need to move Saka on. This fan base is tapped. I don't think so. I don't think Saka is somebody that we need to move on. And Diehard Gunner, I already said that Odegaard, Rice, and Partey were all poor. The entire midfield was poor. So I think I already said that, but I'll say it again. I think the midfield was poor today. And I don't think anybody was better than anybody, to be honest. They all had really poor moments. So yeah, Adam said Martinelli next season. I don't think. Do you guys think moving him to center forward will help? I don't know if it will. Laughing Man says CESR combined with Trossard. Tawana says the midfield was so bad. Genuinely, like I think they were the worst performers, like of everybody. Odegaard was weak. I thought Rice was lost, and I thought Partey was just now, the pass that Saliba put into him early on in the game, I don't think was right. Like, I don't think that that's necessarily on Partey because he didn't really have anywhere to go. But I think just in general, he was poor, so yeah, but he wasn't the only one. It was everybody in midfield I thought was poor. In fact, I don't really think anybody was that good besides Saliba and Gabriel, if I'm honest with you. Then Trossard because he scored, then Kai because he gave the assist, but everybody else to me just had nothing to give. So it's not really like an agenda thing. It's just the truth. Like none of them were any good. So and I don't necessarily feel like any of the substitutions made any difference either. They ran around a little bit, but they didn't make a difference. We didn't go up, we didn't go down. We just kind of stayed. And that's the thing about Arsenal that I don't really understand, which is something that I feel like needs to be studied for next season is why when we start off poorly, we just maintain that level or get worse. Like against Porto, against Bayern, even against Fulham, we started off poor and somehow we got a goal, but we just maintained a really poor level. There's something about this team when we don't start off well, we just stay the same and subs don't make any difference. That is one of our biggest Achilles heel is that our substitutions don't make big differences. Um, we can look different, but we never really look better. I still feel like there's a question to be asked about why our substitutions, like especially when we're not playing well, not when we're playing good already, when we're playing poorly, how they cannot get us going up to another level or change the game. And why when we're not playing well, which doesn't happen very often, mind you, this is like a handful of games where we start off poorly and we just stay like that. Because when the first 2 minutes, I was like, oh, we look good. Then after that, shocking. And then it was just like, and I was telling everybody on the watch along, I was like, I don't anticipate us going up a level. If anything, we concede, and then that's it. So, yeah, I still don't know what's going on. I still don't know what's going on. The Arsenal perspective says nerve watching, racking watch. Since Villa, we have done what we needed to do. Tawana says this team needs to win something, an FA Cup, a Carabao, or even a European Cup. They need to taste success. I agree with that. Chris says we make subs, but we don't adjust our strategy or in-game tactics enough. Mikel needs to figure this out for next season, which is something that we've been talking about a lot is, we'll change like for like, but nothing really changes. Like there is no like, okay, we're going to throw somebody else forward or, we're going to play with, sometimes he'll do it where he'll try to put on like, he'll take out a DM and put in, but still it's like, it's all kind of samey. And so that is, the way we play will win 90% of the games in the league, if not 95%. But the way that we play is there's going to be a 5% of the games that we just cannot win because we can't change anything. And then cups are just out of the question because, as I think we learned this, especially in the Champions League, watching other teams play, is that the control aspect of the way that we play in the league will get us the 3 points. But in the Champions League and cups in general, you just kind of have to go out there and play. You have to be willing to concede and then score again and ride your luck a little bit. And we don't do that, you know. So there is like an in-game situation where if we're not playing well, we can't change it. And that's only going to happen in 5%, but that's the 5% that wins you titles, right? Which is probably the reason why we won't win it. And then you have the cup games where we just can't seem to get up to the level for any sort of cup game, whether it's domestic or European, because genuinely we really struggled in the knockouts of the Champions League. And I expected us to struggle, but not like that. Like we played too much within ourselves. And yeah, so there's still questions. Dale says, this match was so painful. I need to turn to the positive. 27 wins, 89 goals, 61 goal difference, all Arsenal records in Premier League era. The Arsenal perspective says, I wonder whether with the new assistant coach, we'll be in a position to be tactically and physically more able to win those matches we lost in the L. I get what I get what you're saying. I think it's gonna be if rumors are correct, AirPod will leave, which will hurt me badly. We cannot replace him. And then freaking Gabriel Heinze will be our assistant. So I don't know what vibe he's gonna give, but we need more flexibility because we've gotten to the point where, okay, we're going to win 95% of the games in the Premier League, but that extra 5% is going to come from being able to change things tactically within games, get more from your substitutions when you're not playing well, and also game changers. And then there needs to be a level of freedom in cup competitions to ride your luck and play your game. And then there also needs to be the ability to rotate in cup competitions in the early stages and still win the fucking game. Like, I'm still so shocked at the way that I want to be over it, but the game that really just stands out to me is West Ham away, early stages of the Carabao Cup. What the fuck was that? So yeah. Chris says, agreed, Jess, you've explained that really well. I personally think we need a superstar too in our front line to change that. Amon says, I need to erase the game from my memory because that was awful. 3 points is all that matters. Spuds fan on Tuesday. Oh, throw up. Tawana says, Xhaka roll. This team has scored more goals than last season. Martinelli struggling is on him. Trossard has contributed more, honestly, guys. And it may just be the case that the way that things have changed, Trossard is just the better option because he just plays better with Kai. Like, it could just be that simple. So yeah. Johnny says, Jess, if I ever find you agreeing with those Arteta outs again, I'm going to send you a letter telling you to know how upset I am with you, lady. There's always one point in the season where I really just fall into the Arteta out category. It's without fail. It's without fail. There's always one part of the season where I'm just like, he's got to go. Oh, wait, what? Wait, hold on. I told you guys if we won the game, I would show you guys the Saeed video. I need to find it now. If you guys haven't, it's so fucking funny. Let me see if I can find it. Keep talking. Make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. But it's so sack him. Sack this ball fraud. It was after they lost to Palace. If I can't find it, I will die. Because it's so funny. I'm just looking for it. I need to show people that haven't seen it. You know who's gonna have it out of context? Out of context. Fan. I'll find it. I'll find it in a second. But if any of you guys have it handy, send it to my DMs. Send it to my DM on Twitter. So here it is. I found it. Okay. I'm sorry. I really wish I could just like save it right now. Let me see it. Okay. Hold on. I know you guys are like, what am I talking about? Okay, hold on. Let me just save it and then we can all watch it on here. Oh my god. Like when I tell you, like you guys are gonna be like, she's so lame, but like I laughed at this for hours. And my friend Gabby came into town last week. She's also an Arsenal fan. My god, the way we cackled at this for hours. Like it was so like I don't know how to describe it, but it's so funny. Sack him! Sack this ball fraud!
I used to chop people and their left foot. Memetic.
Sack him! Sack that ball fraud! Sick of this man!
You know what makes it so funny is Saeed wasn't even listening to what the other guy was saying. He was so rattled.
No, R9 used to chop people and their left foot. Memetic.
Sack him! Sack that ball fraud! Sick of this man!
Oh my god, so funny. Every time I see it, I die, man. Oh yeah. Jigun says it's funnier if you realize how calm he was before. Junior laughing. It's like honestly, the best memes came from that game when Jamie Carragher said, "Leave football before the football leaves you." I want that on a t-shirt. I want that on a t-shirt so much. Oh my gosh. Woo! All right. So we'll do player ratings for the vibes, but you guys already know, like the player ratings are about to be low as fuck. Like that's why we talked for 45 minutes because I'm just like, what are we even gonna say? All right. So make sure you guys are liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I don't remember drinking these 2 cups of coffee. They were both gone. I don't remember. It's time for mimosas anyway. Let's be serious. All right, so Raya. One dodgy claim, but claimed the crosses really well. Had a good save, clean sheet, not much to do. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like 7? 7? Maybe? Potentially? What do you guys think? Nostradamus says, Raya 7, excellent time wasting. 7. Yeah. Jagoon says, Raya 7, missed a couple of cross collections, but overall was stable. Tawana says, golden gloves for a reason. Chris says, clean sheet at OC. Diehard Gunner says, Raya was an 8. Burmy says, straight 7. Johnny says 6.5 out of 10. He dropped the ball, tripped once or twice. I felt a lot of people were slipping and falling. I want to say that, you know, it was more just like maybe the pitch or something. But yeah, this is somewhere between a 6.5 and an 8. I would go 7 just because it's like Man United weren't really testing him. Like they were shite. Like, you know, so yeah. By the way, shite is like my favorite word. Like, if you're English, thank you for that. Because you guys have like really good sayings and stuff. But shite is just like amazing. I don't know why. It's just so much better than shit. Like it just adds a little bit of something extra. All right. This is my man of the match. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna hold you. If you were not back there, we might have conceded, buddy. Willow was great. You know, I think he just shows his quality. He's just so good. Like, what else do you really even say? Like, he's calm, cool, collected. Really, I think had to manage the right-hand side a lot more today because Ben was struggling. But yeah, I think he was really good today. So I'm gonna give him An 8.5. I thought he was really good. He's just what he is. He's Saliba. Like, he's Saliba. Ben, look, baby, I'm gonna have to give you a lower score, but I know something. I know it was the knee or some shit. Like, I just know it was. Get the surgery. In fact, don't even play. Like, I was play someone else, like, against Everton. I know we're still like technically in it, but like, he was struggling bad today. I'm gonna give you. This is gonna seem harsh, but I'm gonna give him like just over average, as like just under average, just over average. I thought he was really poor, but because I cannot say without a shadow of a doubt that I know that he was carrying something, I just have to be a little. I think he was, but I'm giving him a 5.5. Like, you know what was more like shocking to me wasn't him like getting cooked, on that side by like Dallo and Garnacho. It was getting into the final third and just doing like the worst cross. Like, there were crosses I would do where I'm just like kicking it over the goal. It just like is not reaching anybody. So yeah, this could be harsh, but fuck it. Like, I thought it was, I don't know. So yeah. I don't know, whatever. Diehard Gunner says Ben White was poor, 5. Burmese says Ben was getting roasted by Garnacho, 5. Chris says Saliba was class. AJ says, how does your man of the match get an 8.5? Because my, like, giving somebody a 10, like, you can be man of the match, but the performance levels weren't 10 performances. Like, it's based on the match. Like, I don't think anybody was like, I've seen Saliba perform much better than that. Like, this was just like a really good performance from him. It's like standard for him. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but like, in general, I think our general level as a team was lower than it usually is. So an 8.5, I think, is pretty good against a really bad United side. Like, so yeah. Nostradamus says, I've never seen Jess drunk or high before. This is lit. I'm not drunk. Hello? Like, you think I'm drunk? No, I am not drunk, and you will never see me drunk. Be serious. Lucas says 8.5 for Ben. Garnacho needs to get out of his. Lucas, did you watch the game? Lucas, tell me you didn't watch the game. I'm all for pretending like our players played good when they didn't, but like, Johnny says Ben White 5 out of 10. He was not good the last part of the season. Last part of last season either. I feel like he's not at the last 4.5 games. No. Les, no. Ben White was good against Spurs. He was who did we play last? Like, this, no, he didn't. Now take that back, Johnny. He's not been bad the last 4 or 5 games. This was this first bad performance in a long time. So take that back. Tawana says Dallo was good today, though. He's their best player. Y'all think I'm drunk? See. Now I'm offended. Nostradamus says White 6. The American brother says 6 for Ben. So yeah, something like that. He wasn't good, but I still love him. It's fine. Gabriel, 2nd in best performances. I thought he was also good. Saliba just had, like, how it's like sometimes Gabriel has the bigger moments and Saliba was also good, but it was kind of like that, but like in the other way, So I think Gabriel was also good. I'm going to give him an 8. I said 8. There you go. I'm gonna give him an 8 too. He was really good. This season has been about that center back pairing. Last season was more like about our wingers. It was about Saka and Martinelli. This season, the pairing is the center back pairing. They have been outrageous this season, and they're just so important to everything that we do. They're like the pillars at the back, because even like, and I know it's before you guys come for me, this is not shade. This is not shade, because I know some of you guys will get like ready to fight all the time. But since Partey has been in the team, there has been a noticeable difference in our stability at the back. Doesn't mean that he's playing shit. It just means that, like, we know that there's a difference. Partey is more vertical. He's not as good at, stopping transitions, and his positional discipline is not as good as Rice, So there's always like an equal and opposite reaction. So rice will give you more of the stability, and maybe you'll lose a little bit of the verticality, where it'll switch if it's Partey. Last couple of games, I feel like our defenders have had to defend a little bit more, especially our center backs, more like last season, where they're kind of like on their own and they really have to like stop the counterattack and stuff. And I think Gabriel and Saliba have done really, really good at that in the last couple of games. Now, don't come for me because I know how y'all are about Partey. Like, I know how you guys are about Partey. If you say anything, it's she hates him. She hates him. I don't hate him. He just stunk up the joint today. He did. But Gabrielle was good. Tommy, y'all gonna have to help me with this one because I thought Tommy was good, but nothing special. Did his job, keeps us from getting scored on, or scored against. So, that's really important. But I always feel like when I watch Tommy, that I'm like, I kind of want you only to play these games and I want something else for the other games, but I still want to be able to maintain our defensive solidity. So if we could buy a Timber for that side and like allow Timber to play on the right, which is always where he was going to play, that would make me happy. And that's where Hato, I think, comes in. Young player, doesn't mean that he's going to start every single game, but I think Hato will give you more on the ball because obviously he's technically gifted, just like maybe not as good as Timber. Because when Timber does a little, what is it? When he does a little drop, man, I can't wait to get that back. That's neither here nor there though. Yeah, I just feel like Tommy lacks a little bit in the final third, but he did his job. He did what he needed to do. Like he didn't allow Anthony to score. So yeah, and most of the danger was coming on the other side, which is so strange for us because usually it's vice versa. Usually all the danger is coming on our left. This time they were really going after the right, which makes more sense because their better attacker is on that side and we were weaker on that side today. So I'm going to give Tommy a little 7. I can't really remember anything that he did, but I'm just going to give him a 7 for the vibes. Diehard Gunner says Tommy Asu was balling, solid 8. Chris Frazier says Tommy 6 for me. Victor says 6.5. Burmy says 7.5 for Tommy. Diehard says Timber plays ahead of White for me. At least we'll actually have more options next season, hopefully, if everybody comes back fit. As much as I know people are like, we always meant to play Timber on the left. We did not buy a right-footed player to play on the left. Like, be serious. It just works. And luckily, both Tommy and Timber can play on both sides. But idealistically, I think Ben White gets the surgery and starts next season on the bench so he can fully recover. And, he's played 3 seasons, almost every single game, just like Odegaard. And Saka, that's a lot of football, So Ben goes to the bench, Timber plays on the right, and then whatever happens on the left mostly depends on what we do in the summer. So, yeah. Victor says he wasn't our worst. No, he wasn't. Junior says Takahiro was a 7 for me. World Boss says Jess gets a 10 for a second half comeback. Okay. And Tawanda says, can't wait for Timber to play. Yeah, I think he meant Takahiro. We know what he meant. Let's go to midfield. Listen, I could give the whole midfield fucking 2. Seriously, a 2 for putting on the shirt. I genuinely think like they all had like 1 or 2 decent moments where they won the ball back or had a good moment. Like Saka dropped, or not Saka, Odegaard dropped Amrabat on the ground. Declan had a really good slide tackle. Thomas Partey had some good recoveries, but in terms of their overall influence on the game, I don't think they influenced it enough. I saw Amrabat and Mano with the ball way too much, and that pissed me off, So, listen, I gave Ben a 5.5, and I think they were worse than Ben, the whole midfield. So, 5, and that can go for you, and that can also go for you. You were all terrible today. First time we've seen that midfield not play well. and it was against one of the worst midfields in the league. Fuck. Like, come on. They were terrible. Chris said our midfield was diabolical, 2 to 3 for everyone. Chola says whole midfield 5.5. Tawanda says Partey was the worst today in midfield, rather Rice at the 6 today. We needed an engine at left center mid. I can't really pick one was better than the other. I think they all had one or two little moments here or there. But ultimately, like, again, Amrabat and them had the ball a lot. And I was like, what the fuck? They weren't winning second balls. They were looking shaky. I was like, this is not it. This stinks. And they were all poor. And you guys know how I feel about Odegaard. Like, he can do no wrong. But today, he was wrong as hell. So let's not pretend like it was just Rice and it was just Odegaard. Partey was awful as well, you know? So, yeah. Like, they were all just stinky. Jonathan says Odegaard was a 3 out of 4, getting bumped off easily. Dragoon says the midfield and Saka are all 5s. Johnny D says Partey was a 4, close to terrible. Tawanda says Mainu was decent. The fact that they even looked decent pissed me off. Chris says the amount of misplaced passes under no pressure was madness. Exactly. I was like, what y'all doing? Who are you passing it to? Like, when Saka passed that ball straight to nobody, I lost my head. Like, I genuinely did. If you were on the watch along, you remember, because I was just like, what are you doing? So, yeah, I think, again, you can, like, their level is so high that some people could not even dream of having that performance from them. You know, like, that would be the best that their midfield could ever do. But that is just way below their level. Like, it genuinely was. It smelled so bad. Matt G says, wait, what am I seeing? 2 and 3 for our midfield. They didn't have a great game, but we got the win at Old Trafford. Enjoy the win. I'm giving them 5s. That's just what I feel like it was. It wasn't good at all. Trosty baby, usual Trosty performance, doing some bullshit, but we'll score the goal. And so for that, I will give you, I'll give him a 7. Like, listen, like, our forwards really didn't do anything besides that one goal, and the goal was important, but like, I don't know, like, it just wasn't it. Like, it just wasn't the performance. It just wasn't what it needed to give. It was just very ass. Like, I don't know. It was just ass. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Havertz got the assist, but buddy, what else did you do? What happened? Like, what else did you do? 6.5. Something like that. Like, 6.5. How are you not cooking Casemiro and Johnny Evans? Like, what's going on? Terrible. And Saka, I wanted him off at like 50th minute. Not only because I didn't feel like he was fully fit, but when Amrabat knocked him off the ball, I was like, get him out! Get him out! I cannot watch this any longer. I knew he was going to struggle against Dallo. But it was really struggly, wasn't it? It was so bad. He doesn't even have like an assist or a goal to like zhuzh it up. Give him like a 6. So bad. And like a 6, like 6 is bad. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm giving like additional like little half points because we won the game, but like I wanted him off. I couldn't do it. Chola says Saka 6. Johnny D says Saka was a 6 out of 10. Overrated players still love him. Victor says 5. Concert Graham says Saka was pathetic today. Jagoon says 7. Delivered when we needed him. Havertz 6, 5 for Saka. And yeah, Tawanda says subs were all 5s. I'm right here with you. Them subs didn't do shit. Like, they really didn't change nothing. They didn't make nothing do nothing. So they're getting all 5s. So we only need to talk about them. Nostradamus says Saka 4.5. Is the other game on? Am I tripping? Hold on. No, I'm hungry. Oh, it's tomorrow. The game is tomorrow. Never mind. It was just us. Okay, cool. Okay. Good. More time. All right, sweet. Saka 3. So yeah, it was like it's probably a 5. It's probably a 5. But I thought defensively he did good things, but it was like a fullback shift. It was wild. Like there's just so much going on. Like it just was like, yeah. And like I said, all the subs are getting like 5s. Like, so I'm not about to sit here and like rate them because like what did they even do? And you guys always ask me to rate Mikel. I'm just like, we won, so he survived. But like, I don't know if I genuinely don't think it was pressure, you guys. I think those dudes were on the beach. I think they watched that Man City performance, knew what the tea was. It was like, we're not winning this, and just kind of caved, or like just kind of just did whatever. Like it wasn't like unprofessional, but it definitely was not good, but we won. So, guys, I'm not high. Seriously. Like, I'm not. Like, I'm literally not high. I'm fucking starving. Like, I need food. And my stomach is like eating itself right now. And I still need to like take a shower, get ready, go visit mom because it's Mother's Day. I got a long day ahead, so I'm not high. Like, what? Burmy says, the way we played today, we showed we are second best in the Premier League. I think bar for bar, we are second. We're the second best team. I still don't think we're as good as Man City. I don't care what anybody says. I look at Man City and I just don't see us. Like, so I think we need to get there's still another level for us to go. And a lot of that depends on Mikel's progression as a manager and also what we do in the summer. And there's just like no way to get it wrong. If we get it wrong, I just, yeah. So, but yeah, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, get in the comments after and let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling about the ratings. I think we're all pretty much in the same, like we all kind of like agreed on most things. Midfield poor, attack poor, Saliba and Gabriel great, fullbacks meh, so there you go. But we won, so that's all. Now we have to hope Spurs. I'm not even gonna say it. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later. Bye guys.